All right, today we're covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and their upcoming 2024 season. What we have to do first, though, is if you're new, first of all, you got to smash the like button while you're here. But we go back, we recap last season, see how it turned out for them. We look over the offseason, their transaction, any contracts they signed, salary cap issues, obviously their draft picks. And then we jump into the 2024 season, see their upcoming schedule, play guess the lines, and then we jump over to the betting odds to see what the betting market expects from this team in 2024. And if we agree or disagree with some of those, and if we can find some gems along the way, we'll bet those too. Boys, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers cricket, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers had themselves, I would argue, a very successful season under Baker Mayfield last year, getting into the playoffs, division winners, I believe, correct? Won the division, got into the playoffs, had a home game against the Eagles and beat the snot out of the Eagles before losing to Detroit in the divisional round. But I would say, how do you feel, Cricket? As a Bucs fan, was it a successful season in your eyes?
It was. I was pleased with it, man. I really, you remember beginning about this time last year, I was thinking we wouldn't win. I thought we were in line for one of those top draft picks for one of those quarterbacks there, man. I was thinking 3-4 wins at the most. Wound up stringing together a pretty good little run there. Winning it is a bad division, real bad division, but you're able to get the job done in the playoffs, smack the Eagles in the mouth, who were struggling pretty mightily at the time. But they were in that game up in Detroit there. Baker winds up throwing the pick late, but he played well throughout the season and was one of the only reasons we were there anyway. So I'm not going to sit and throw shade at that guy. I love Baker Mayfield. I was glad we re-signed him in the offseason, which we'll get into in a minute. But all in all, man, a successful season, much higher. It definitely exceeded my expectations last year. And I'm okay with it. There was a lot of question marks coming into that thing, and I think a lot of those were answered. So all in all, a successful season for me. How did you think about the Bucs last year, Steps?
Yeah, I agree. And I think Mayfield, I think he continues to prove that he is an NFL starter. And if you were to take his picture off of the TV and compare him to other quarterbacks in the same way, you would most times pick him. Like he's one of those guys that can kind of shock you on his underlying metrics and also his fact to lead the team. I think he's a leader as well. But I think, yeah, surprising. Yeah, like you said, the division is kind of poop last year. They had the Saints, who I thought should have won the division, but their coach is awful. Their quarterback's awful
Garbage.
as well. But I think this year will be a little bit different. We'll get into that with the Falcons adding Kirk Cousins, coming to the division, and Bryce Love having another year under his belt in Carolina. So, yeah, this division last year was not fun to watch. Season started off good. They had a little rough patch there in the middle. It looks like they finished strong, and like you said, they did have some good performances there late. So we'll see what they do this year. Everybody kind of counted them out after Brady and all those Super Bowl trips and playoff stuff.
Bruce Arians moved to the front office.
Yeah, but they're still kind of hanging around. So I don't know if that's just that roster that was put together still kind of has some core pieces in place, and they haven't kind of lost that, or maybe they build off that and they're headed in the right direction.
Two things I need to correct you real quick on the Steps before the YouTube comments go after you. It's Bryce Young, not Bryce Love.
Bad.
You got that mixed up.
He was the Stanford running back, wasn't he?
Yeah, Bryce something like that. But also, hey, Bryce Young, do something in the league, and then maybe we'll get your name right. How about that? And then second, how could you trust this? Who? I can't believe you trust the Saints last season. Who in their right mind would trust the Saints?
You're a closet Saints fan.
Look at that division. I mean, yeah, I know, right?
I know 9-8 won the division last year. It's disgusting.
It'll be the same way this year.
I know. It's disgusting.
It's not much better this year.
Yeah, and it's not
making things correct on the record. Cricket, you were right, as everyone's pointed out to me in that video of that guy that got denied his $500,000. That was that casino, I think in Tennessee or whatever you were telling me about.
Cherokee?
Yeah, it was.
No, it was in North Carolina. I was told. I was like, I totally walked right through there. When I was like, dude, maybe Harris just had.
It was my fault because I was thinking that the Caesars was in Vegas, but I'm like, oh, I forget that they have like affiliate books.
No, they do, because before you could bet in North Carolina, like this has been a year or two ago, before they passed the betting laws, even I would have to go in there. You got to go down to the sports book in the casino. You can't even use your DraftKings, which I thought was ignorant, but I definitely have walked right through that spot where dude was at. And I was like, damn, maybe they just have the same layout in all these casinos or something like that. Nope, that's definitely Cherokee.
And someone pointed out, he goes, the dude said he got on a flight and drove, and then when he landed, drove 3 hours. That's
You have to. He probably flew to
they're
like
in Vegas. You don't drive 3 hours to get to the casino.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, you probably. I mean, he could have totally landed in Chattanooga because that's about what the drive is for me, and it's about a 3 hour drive. So he totally could have landed in Chattanooga and drove from there.
That's funny. So yeah, Bucks, getting back to them, they started off the season great, 3-1, looking like studs. Mayfield just slinging the rock. Then they lose 4 straight, and all is lost. And at one point, they're 4-7, and then they rattle off 5 out of 5 wins in their last 6 games to finish 9-8, win the division, and then they shock the Eagles 32-9 in the wild card round. So let's take a look at some of the things they did this offseason. You'll probably know this better than me, Cricket, but just glancing through this, released Shaq Barrett, who ended up going to the Dolphins and then ended up just decided to retire. They re-signed Mike Evans to a 2-year contract extension. Mike, we talked about this. Some people told me that there's no way. Like when I posted that video of Mike saying that he almost went to the Chiefs or to the Texans, and everyone's like, that's not true. There's no way the Chiefs couldn't have afforded him. They wouldn't want him, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you guys getting mad at me for? I'm taking his words on it that he said on a podcast. Watch the video. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people don't understand that sometimes it's not always like we talked about the other day. He wasn't something about consulting with his significant other and different things like that. These guys have families and stuff too. Different things that he's been down in Tampa the whole time.
Yeah. Let's see. I think that's what ended up keeping him there, but he ended up signing what I believe was, what is he at? Oh, it's not even updated. Yeah, it should be updated on here. Yeah, there it is. He ended up signing a 2-year, $41 million contract extension to stay in Tampa. And like you were just saying there, Cricket, I think a lot of this had to do with, him wanting. I mean, he had been there for 10 plus years, and it's like, I don't want to move my whole life unless the money is just ridiculous.
Right.
And I don't think anyone else was offering him more than $20 million a year anyways. And look at this. Here's these void contract years again. Interesting stuff. Not as bad as the Eagles stuff, but man, this is interesting that these teams are doing this now.
It'd be different if he was ring chasing, but he got his ring.
Mm-hmm.
Done things in the league nobody's ever done. Probably wants to retire as a Buccaneer there. So I mean, I doesn't really blow my mind that he came back.
And then early on in free agency, they placed Winfield on the non-exclusive franchise tag. They ended up getting him a contract, right?
They did wind up getting him a contract. I was really happy to see that one, man. I thought this was a guy. This was a guy that literally he's one of the reasons we made the playoffs last year, man. Straight up, no 2 ways about it. He made a couple plays in big spots late in the game where he's just hustling all the way. The one against what is the quarterback's name for Ritter? Desmond Ritter, when we were playing down in Tampa Bay, and wound up he punches one through the end zone late in the game to force a touchback. It should have been a touchdown. He did it in another game late in the season. I think the Panthers game. But yeah, I mean, this guy is a great veteran guy, good locker room guy, knows the culture down there and all that, and is a hustler, man. I love this guy, man. I'm glad he got a contract.
Him and Levante David, both those are great re-signings and getting those guys paid and whatnot. Because I mean, you got to remember that Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense was like one of the only defenses that stuffed not once, but multiple times on the goal line, even including in the playoff game. They stuffed the Philly special, the little quarterback sneak that no one could stop. So
the I mean, you got or whatever they call.
Yeah, the brotherly shove. Yeah, so they ended up stuffing that. So they re-signed Levante David, Jordan Whitehead. Is Randy?
No,
he
signed
Randy Gregory, but didn't he get released or something like that?
He didn't show up.
Oh yeah, that's right. How do you sign with a team and then not show up? I understand if you're like holding out with a prior team.
That sounds like
issues, yeah, I was going to say that sounds like there's some mental stuff going on, and that man don't really want to play football.
Wasn't that the story on him in Nebraska? And didn't he come out of Nebraska? He couldn't stop smoking weed or something, or he was just lazy.
The whole weed.
He's always had issues, man. His whole career.
He does. I'm sure the weeds are very small. One of those issues.
Then this is sad news, and a lot of people might think this is like big, and it kind of is. But Ryan Jensen retires. I love Ryan Jensen. He's one of my favorites. He's always fighting people out there. You knew back when they're on that Super Bowl run, every game that Jensen was gonna get into it with someone. It looked like he was about to have a heart attack because his blood pressure was so high because his face beat red. Yeah. But Ryan Jensen retired. Now, why I say this isn't that big of a deal is because he didn't play last season, so it's not like it's affecting anything. You know what I mean? He got injured early on.
Yeah, it's probably about that time. I mean, those guys put a lot on their body there. Did get a key piece of that offensive line back though with Tristan Wirfs.
Yep, just the other day on August 1st, Tristan Wirfs signs a 5-year contract extension, paying the big boy.
Good.
They also paid Baker Mayfield. Look at this. Baker got paid. I mean, I feel like this is a win-win. When you're paying, even when you have to pay all these other people, you either gotta, you can't pay your quarterback a ton of money, but it was like perfect because Baker proved it last year, led the team to a playoff win. I feel like they like him down there, and he's still, he's 29 this season, so he's still young enough that this is still like, hey, we're going to give you some money, but this isn't going to break the bank for the team. A 3-year, $100 million deal, $50 million total guaranteed. So even if he bombs out this year and they ended up cutting him after this season, he's still going to get his $50 million. So that's I mean,
it's prime Baker too. I mean, you're paying him in his prime years, so it makes sense. A lot of these signings it seems like they must have created a good organization atmosphere in Tampa for all these guys wanting to sign.
They can thank Tom for that. Hey, maybe Patriots, Bob Kraft, take note of what they're doing down in Tampa. People seem to want to go play down there in Tampa, but not in New England. What are we doing? Sounds like a issue, Bob.
Wasn't it like everyone was like, once Tom left, no one was going to go there?
Yeah. Well, like I said, you had Bruce Arians resign as the head coach, but just moved to the front office. So still in a lot of those meetings, still making a lot of the calls, and still a big part of the culture.
He did that in Tom's last year, before Tom's last season. So this was the second year of him.
Was that 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago. Yeah.
God, they all run together, man. Either way, though, you still got that guy right there making a lot of major calls in the organization and stuff. I mean, they built a pretty good culture there at this point, because the thing is like, this has not been a great team, and they're still getting results.
Mm-hmm.
They all run together, just like the years. Like between 2015 and now, I can't tell you what happened.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? Like 2013 is the same to me in my mind as 2017.
Bro, I can tell you what happened from 2015 to now. Tom won 4 Super Bowls.
2013 is 11 years ago. What?
Name one thing that happened that year.
2013?
Yeah, just one thing. Just one thing
off the top of your head. Undergrad and got accepted.
Not you. I'm talking about world or,
sports.
2013, wasn't that the 2013 in sports? I think that was RG3 year.
I don't know.
That was their big breakout season.
Yeah. You're probably right though, because college football game last year was 2014 and he was on the cover. So
that might have been the year he won the Heisman.
Yeah, I just think it's weird that, like, I can remember I graduated high school 2002. I can remember a few years after that just because I was established in my life. But then everything from like 2005 till now is just a blur.
No, I was wrong. Look at this. The 2003 or 2013 NFL draft, Eric Fisher was drafted 1 overall. You got Lane Johnson in this one too.
Bro, from Central Michigan, offensive tackle. Holy moly donut shop.
I know, right?
Dang, there's only like 2 guys that really hit out of that top 9 that's on the screen.
I started to say, who else on that? Lane
just Fisher and Johnson. I mean, there's some other guys, Mingo, Ansah, that were around, but those Fisher, Johnson were elite. Yeah, Tavon.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised. It's hard to be in the league for 10 years,
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah, but it's also hard to hit on the number 1 pick. Chiefs did it there. I mean, he turned into
Speaking of the draft, this year's draft, 2024 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, how do you feel about it overall, Cricket, before we get into any specific player? Was were solid? What'd you think?
Bucks doing Bucks things. The Bucks like to, with those higher picks, really solidify the offensive and defensive lines. So once again did that. You talk about Ryan Jensen retiring there with the first round pick. I was pleased with that, taking Graham Barton out of Duke, big guy, 6'5", 313, to fill in for Jensen there at center. I think he is going to be a guy that plays pretty much immediately. He started 34 games at left tackle in college, and he's got those traits to quickly develop into a starter at this level. The number 1 ranked player at his position, 18th ranked overall, and had a 91 grade coming into the draft there. So I like this first pick. I really do. I think you needed a guy to replace Ryan Jensen, who's been one of the heart and souls of your team for the last several years there. And I think this is a guy that could come in and play a decade in the league like some of those guys we just talked about. I like this pick a lot. I really did. Compared to what was on the board, I didn't think we there was anything that was going to be as beneficial to us as taking this guy right here.
Yeah, this you got to remember. Right before this, that's when that run on wide receivers started going. Like 4 picks in a row ended up being wide receivers. So there wasn't like any skill position that this was a big need for that line, and a good pick by them. Bolt says Chiefs can make up cap room whenever they want. If Evans wanted to be there, he would. I have no doubt about that. I just think they weren't offering enough money to make him want to up and move his life for a year or two. I mean,
right.
He's got a pretty good gig down there.
That's what I'm saying. Not to mention the
it's
weather's
not just
kinda
his
nice in
decision. He's got to,
Tampa.
talk to the missus as well,
It's like, am I going to go for the weather in Kansas City versus Tampa? Did you see that damn playoff game against the Dolphins last year? Was it like 3 degrees or something?
Helmets were breaking.
Yep.
Yeah. Hell with that.
Their second round pick, they took a Alabama linebacker, Chris Braswell.
Man, he had started only 2 games at Alabama, but had a career high 8.5 sacks and forced 3 fumbles in 2023. He's got explosive power, and he comes from the tree of Saban and all that stuff. They developed these guys down there. 6'3", 251, so a rangy guy at the edge rushing position right here. And you're never upset about getting somebody from the school of Saban.
Yep. I mean, I feel like you're safe taking an Alabama linebacker. So good pick.
I mean,
they took they're staying in the SEC. They're taking a defensive back out of Georgia.
Yeah,
Smith.
Yeah, he got great instincts, man. Got some burst and balance. He can match up with some of those slot receivers and tight ends in those spots. Makes pretty good angles undercutting the routes there. Got some speed. Not a huge guy. Only 5'10", 202. Solid guy there, but doesn't really have the extra length to match up with some of those elite receivers in the league. Could wind up being a guy that plays more in nickel packages, things like that. But, an SEC guy that's played a lot of big-time football.
Absolutely. And then also in the third round, what is that? Just a few picks later, they took Jalen McMillan, wide receiver out of Washington.
I think this could be a sneaky pick right here, man. This guy, the year before he had some injury troubles last year, and then the emergence of Rome Odunze out there in Washington. But this guy was the top receiver in this offense in past years and really was considered a guy to go in the first round for a while there before the injury trouble. So I think this could be a sneaky pick here in the third round with the 29th pick in the third round. I think this is a guy that could wind up giving you some production and might be a sneaky little spot for some of you fantasy players out there this year.
Yeah, I mean, we know those Washington receivers, they like to put up numbers, so good for them. And then they stay out in the old Pac-12, RIP, and take a running back out of Oregon, Bucky Irving.
Yeah, Irving ran for 1,000+ yards in both seasons at Oregon, led all FBS running backs in catches with 56 in 2023. So a guy that can, kind of a two-way type player there, gets you some spots out of the backfield, and then runs hard between the tackles. Not big, not a real big guy, but 5'9", 192, definitely solid enough to, I don't know if he's an every down running back, but definitely a guy that's going to get in the mix there. And like I said, catch some balls out of the backfield and give you some different looks. Comes from a pretty crazy offense up there in Oregon. So I don't mind this one either.
4.55 40.
I'd like to see him be a little more around the 4.4 range, but like I said, a solid guy at 5'9", 192. Not going to be easy to bring down there, low center of gravity and all that.
Yeah, good looks. Hey, I'm telling you, you got to remember, like this, he might be one of those good special team guys with the new kickoff rules and stuff. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
we're gonna see a lot of things change there with the new kickoff rule. It's gonna be an exciting season, I think, with that stuff. It's gonna make so many people mad that I can't wait to talk about it and make videos off of it.
Fair enough.
And then the last few picks they had here, another guard out of UTEP, Elijah Clean, and then in the 7th round they took a tight end out of Washington, Devin Culp. So, I mean, we know that these picks are just kind of you filling need or best available, or just you're gambling, right? You're gambling down here.
I will say Elijah Klein there. He was one of those rare 5-year starters down at UTEP. So a guy that's played a whole lot of football at this point there. He's got pretty long arms, 6'4", 319, a big guy. So could be a guy. I don't think he's going to be a starter in the league, but we see a lot of offensive line injuries throughout the course of the season. And he could be one of those guys that steps in, is able to fill in for a few games till somebody gets right.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's their 2024 NFL draft picks. Solid draft overall, just nothing too fancy or flashy. They're picking towards the end of rounds, but I feel like they filled in some needs. They got some young defensive guys coming in to fill in for some of those defensive losses, even though they did sign a bunch of defensive guys that they got to keep. There was a few spots, and then they beefed up that offensive line, which they're going to need to keep Baker healthy. So now we switch over to this season. 2024 season. You got any expectations for them, Cricket? You expect them to win the division again this year?
I expect them to be right there in the mix. Like I said, I think 9-8 wins this division again, and it's going to be able to, for who shows up in those division games. I mean, for the most part, we expect, as long as we don't drop one of those stupid games of the Panthers like we usually do, should be right there in the mix. Probably split with the Falcons, split with the Saints. So it'll come down like it did last year to the last week of the season, all the different tiebreakers and things.
Okay. It's funny. We get to play guess the lines now. Steps is here with me. What's funny is this week one. Not only is it week one, and I haven't looked at week one lines in a couple of weeks, but we did the Commandos yesterday. And I do not remember.
You're still gonna miss this one.
I know. So we're gonna go through this. Bucks are looking to make a Super Bowl run. Baker's ready to go win a Super Bowl. Could you imagine Baker Mayfield won a Super Bowl? I would retire on the spot if I was that guy. That'd be crazy. Anyways, so they get to open up the season home against Washington. I'm psyching myself out because I got this wrong yesterday and I was way off and I can't remember.
Hold on before you pick. I'm just picking a heads up winner today. I think Steps beat you today, man. No exact numbers, no totals.
Do I get the plus a half in case we tie?
No, this is a pick 'em.
Awesome.
Can we tie? There's only 17, so there, or is it? Yeah, no.
Both pick the same
how
amount,
many games are there? 16.
It don't matter. You ain't all
it doesn't matter. We can still both pick the same amount, right?
You don't even got to pick the same games, right?
You're right.
He's not saying who's going to get the closest. He's saying who can get the most exactly right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So they open up home against Washington here. I'm going to say Tampa Bay -3.
2.5.
Buccaneers -3.5 at home against the Commanders.
Oh, see, I told you. I think I had Bucks -5 yesterday or something.
I think you said 2.5 yesterday.
Did I?
I think so.
Gross. Then they got to go on the road to Detroit. That's going to be a fun early season game out at Detroit.
Playoff rematch.
Tampa Bay in Detroit. Detroit is probably 6-point favorites.
I'm going to go 4.5.
I believe this is the exact same line we had in the playoff game last year. You are right, Will. Bucks +6 at the Lions. If I recall correctly, that's the exact line we had in the playoff game. Mm-hmm.
I think you're right because I think I teased the Bucks up to 14
as a winner
or whatever I was able to get them to. Okay, and then look at that. They get to start off the season. 3 of their first 4 games are home. And the home games are actually kind of nice. I mean, they should be they should beat Washington and Denver, and then a little rematch to Philly. But home against Denver, man, did you see the news of Denver? I think they're just trying to get some psych, get into what's his name? Why can't I think of it? Bo Nix's
third stringer
head a little bit. Yeah, they put him third string behind Zach Wilson. But I think that's just kind of
tamper the expectations, probably.
Yeah, kind of. I think that's Peyton doing old school coaching stuff. Like, hey, you got to earn your way up this chart. We're not going to just put you.
People don't understand how tough it is to adjust to the speed of the game in the NFL and stuff like that. Everybody wants to throw their shade at Zach Wilson and all that, but he's been here and got a little bit more experience at this spot. It doesn't really surprise me that he's playing a little bit better football at this stage of the season than Bo Nix right now. It's a tough adjustment, man.
I might go. I think this is gonna be a weird number here, home against Denver. I'm gonna say Tampa is like a 5.5-point favorites.
I'll go 4.5 again.
Bucks -3.5 at home against the Broncos.
We need to bet that now. There's no way.
The Broncos did not do well the last time they went down to South Florida. They got 70 hung on them. So,
and then we got a playoff rematch home against Philly. It's a legit playoff rematch. I mean, this is down in Tampa. They get Philadelphia Eagles coming in. I'm going to say the Eagles are 3.5-point favorites heading into this one.
I'm going to go Eagles 2.5.
Y'all middled it, man. Buccaneers +3 at home against the Eagles. So 2 of the first 4 games for the Bucks going to be rematches of playoff games last year.
You know what? This was a mistake on my part. I forget that these lines early on they kind of skew a little tight. Because I think come game time, Philly's going to be 3.5-point favorites. But depending on how Philly starts the season, but I think they're going to be 3.5-point favorites, if not more, when this thing kicks off. But yeah,
they're 3.5-point favorites right now.
You just said they were 3.
They're 3. No, they're 3.
That's what I'm saying. That's I should have known that it would have been a little tighter here.
Yeah, it probably will go up. I don't know.
Then what is this? Their first division game, Thursday Night Football division game. Let's go. They got to go to Hot Atlanta, take on Kirk Cousins in the squad. I'm gonna say Atlanta is a God. This one's tough. Steph's probably gonna get this one right on the money. I'm gonna say Atlanta's a 3-point favorite.
2.5.
Falcons -3 at home against the Bucks.
Hey, I thought I was gonna get screwed by the hook either one way or the other. So I thought Steps had that one.
You got to pick it up, Steps.
I know. Am I down one exact, or did you get two exact?
2.
Oh, well, then screw it.
Yep. Well, we got time left.
That's what you get for picking against your co-host here. Come
He's
on,
gonna get this one wrong.
Oh God! Now and then after that back-to-back division games, that's tough. Then they got to go out to back-to-back road division games. But they do get 10. Remember, they get 10 days rest here. Got to go to New Orleans. I'm gonna say the Saints are 1-point favorites at home.
Damn, I was gonna say I like a pick 'em.
Saints -1.5 at home against the Buccaneers.
Oh, God, they got us by the hook, Steps. Damn. Then the Monday
That
night
one will
football
change too.
God, that's a rough stretch. Look at that 4-week stretch right there. You get Philadelphia at home. Then you got say what you want. 2 road division games aren't easy, whatever, no matter what division you're in. It's a rough time. Then you get to come home finally and play Monday Night Football. Oh, against Baltimore. Disgusting. Baltimore, 4.5-point favorites.
I would say I'm gonna go 6.5.
Bucks +5 at home against the Ravens.
These damn hooks, man. We got to start getting a tally
hooked over there.
You're a Texas Longhorns fan, man.
Then they're home against Hot Atlanta. So I'm gonna say the Bucks are 2-point favorite. 2-point favorites.
2.5.
Once again, it looks like these division games are moving about 4 to 4.5 points. Bucks -1 at home against the Falcons.
One? Okay, I was thinking that, but I was thinking 1.5, but then I was like, we've seen in some of these division ones when it's in between the threes, they bump it up an extra point or two, but I guess not here. Okay. God, they're so high in Atlanta this year. It's disgusting.
It seems to be, for the most part, most of these ones we've done, the division games, the home and away is moving about 4 to 4.5 points right now.
Gotcha. Then Monday Night Football at Kansas City. Man, they got a tough middle of the season. That ain't easy. Ain't easy. But it does look promising after the bye week, though. So if they can at least be around 500, if not a game above, they should be pretty set to make a playoff push. But God, they get to go at Kansas City, then home against San Francisco. That is disgusting. Anyways, at Kansas City, Monday Night Football. 2 Monday Night Footballs in 3-week period. That's crazy. I'm gonna say Kansas City though is a 6-point favorite.
I'll go 6.5.
Chiefs -7 at home against the Buccaneers. What's up? What's up, B-Hole Patrol? How you doing, man?
What's that stand for?
Over in the YouTube chat.
Oh, he's back. Let's go. How we doing, bud?
Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing all right.
Yeah. Okay. And then home against San Francisco. I'm gonna say San Francisco 6-point favorites. We're gonna do that again.
They're at home.
Bucks at home.
I'll go 5.5 for the sake of not being exact on him.
I want to bet this right now. Buccaneers +7 at home against 49.
Jeez.
I'm saying the same thing there. I want to bet that. Absolutely.
Do you think it's because it's
depending on how they look
at the end of their bye? Like that's a long stretch there of 10 games.
It probably has to do. I mean, you got one less day's rest there playing Monday Night Football the week before against the Chiefs and all that. And like Will said, that's a tough stretch there with division games sandwiched in between the 2 teams that played in the AFC Championship last year. So that's a tough stretch.
You got to play Baltimore, Kansas City, and San Francisco.
That's what I'm saying. And then you're playing Atlanta 3 of the final 4 teams there in a month stretch. And on top of that, you got division games with coming in.
I love this. It pulls up right below Snaps. Show your bill. He says, I see Will shaved. He looks a lot less Muslim. Dude, I shaved and I looked at myself and I go, God, you're so out of shape and fat. What are you doing? I need to go on a diet again. It's all those.
You're a yo-yo dieter.
I don't know. It's dad bod, man. I spend my time doing this stuff, which is way more fun than dieting and exercising.
He said, ask Steps if he's related to stairs.
God, I love it when B-Hole shows up. Fun times. I'm glad to have you in, sir. Okay, So then we get the much needed bye week. I feel like this is a good bye week, especially after those rough stretch of games there. Now we got to go down to now they got to go out to New York after the bye week. And I love when teams come off the bye and then have to go on the road. I don't like betting on teams coming off the bye who stay at home. So just remember that throughout the season. A little tip, a little nuggie for you guys out there. But New York, I feel like New York's going to be overrated in this one. I'm going to say New York -3.
I'm going to go 2.5.
Bucks -1 at the Giants.
Dude, they got 4 road games there too, and 5 coming off the bye.
I'm saying I don't know that.
What was the line?
Bucks -1.
Oh, I was way off. I was way off. I thought they were going to have him over. Okay. Bold says, "Give me Will heads up any day." Oh, Bold's got my back. I thought first when I read that, I thought he wanted to challenge me one-on-one doing this like steps, but I was like, I think he means he's got my back on this one. Thank you, Bold. Thank you. At least someone around here has a little respect. God, no offense, steps.
I only have a few more to get to at least.
Yeah, I get when pissing at the excitement I get when I build the elevator to the point of no longer taking the stairs. Add a baby. Then they get to go out. So after going to New York, then they get to go out to Carolina. Bucks. Man, this one I feel like it's gonna be a funky line, but I'm gonna say Bucks -2.5.
I'm gonna go Bucks -3.5.
Bucks -2 at the Panthers.
Ooh,
hey,
another hook. Damn. Okay, then home against Vegas.
They think Carolina's gonna be that much better this year? I know it's a division.
It's early.
Game,
I'm telling you,
still.
it's early in the season. They especially when you get later in the season, before the season starts, these lines late in the season. It's a lot of we don't know injury wise what's going to happen, so the books play it kind of safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That seems low though to me.
Behold Patrol says Square Steps looks like Ozzy Virgil circa 1988. Who is that?
I have no idea.
I'm afraid to look it up.
Steps do. I mean, we do always play kind of that Panthers game. Doesn't matter how good they are, how bad we are, how good we are, how bad they are. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's always seems to be a weird close game.
Agree. Division games are always weird.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can see it right here, right there, huh?
Jeez.
He said, for this not being an LGBTQ plus channel, you talk a lot about bias.
Got him. Home against Vegas. Buccaneers. I'm just gonna play it safe. 3-point favorites.
3.5.
Bucks -2.5.
I knew it was like 2.5 steps. I thought you were going to steal that one there. I was like, after I said it.
I thought he was good. I was expecting him to go the half the other way.
I said 2.5 the whole time. And then I go 3.5. And then
this game will mess with your psyche, dude. It will, like, you start missing. How many of them? It's like,
I like that I don't have to play.
Cowboys were like 3-point or 1-point favorites for like every game or something like that. It was crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was like the Cowboys. I think you could have picked the Cowboys like minus, it was either -1 or -3 every game. You got like 7 right.
Yeah. I was like 2.5 or 3.5, but I would never pick 3. And then I think the one time I did ended up being 2.5. Anyways, they got to go out to LA, take on the Chargers. I'm going to say Chargers 1-point favorites.
I'll go 2.5.
Chargers -3. Home against Buccaneers.
Of course. Then they got to go out to Dallas, take on them Cowgirls. Cowboys 5.5-point favorites.
I'll go 6.
Cowboys -4.5 at home against the Bucks.
Went the wrong way.
Dang, that's a funny line. Then home against Carolina, I'm going to say Buccaneers 3.5-point favorites.
I'll go 3.
They moved this one big. This is Bucks -5, so they moved that line.
Jeez, it was minus. It was 1,
3.
or was it
-2? I believe it was. Yeah, so they moved it 3 points. Moved it a little less. I think it probably will be closer to a touchdown though by the time that game's played.
Yeah, and then home against the Saints. This is tough. Week 18 is always tough, but I'm just going to say Bucks -3.
I'll go 2.5.
Hey, Steps got on the board in the last
one.
There
we go.
Bucks -2.5 at home against the Saints. Why did not get shut out, bro?
That's what we're talking about. Hey, that game right there could be for the that might be the last game of the season. You know, they like to. There's always one game that the division's on the line, and they usually make that Sunday night football game. And last year it was the Dolphins and the Bills. This could be for the division here. You know, week 18. That'd be
Could
exciting.
be. It
No
really
one's going to run the table. The division will be wrapped up by
Probably
this
right.
time. They'll be sitting
Yeah.
starters in week 18.
Yeah.
Holt says he's a money line guy. He says he'll leave the spreads to us. Okay. B-hole Patrol's going to love that, talking about spreads, spreading them.
He said, would you be opposed to wearing a top hat on stream? Talking to me, I'd wear a top hat, man. I could do that.
That'd be fun. That'd be a fun stream. We'd have to have a special occasion for it, though.
B-hole Patrol.
B-hole Patrol. Okay, so there's the 2024 season and your winner of Guess the Lines. Thank you. I like how the day that you don't pick me to finish exactly with 2 is the time that you pick against me. It's kind of funny. But we got division odds here. Let me pull those up. NFL futures, NFL division futures. Here we go. Courtesy of Bet Online, we've got NFC South. God, I can't believe the Falcons. The Bucs are +3. I feel like, listen, I'm telling you right now, I haven't even looked at this. I'm betting this today. I'm going to put some money on the Bucs and the Saints to win this division. Both. Just a little bit on both of them because you're getting +300 and +325 on those two teams.
Bet a full unit on both of them. I think the Falcons are going to be garbage.
There's no way the Falcons should be a -115. You're going to give me 3-1 on the Bucs? I mean, that's a tough schedule. Don't get me wrong, they have a tough schedule, but still. Ooh.
You should bet full units on both the Bucs and the Saints. Don't mess with the Panthers. Leave that alone. But yeah, no, you should at 3-1 or better on both of those right there. There ain't no way the Falcons should be that big a favorite in this division, even with Kirk Cousins. We don't even know if that Achilles is going to hold up, man.
What do you think about that, Steps?
I think the Falcons are going to be good.
Oh, you're a semi-Falcons fan, though. I forgot.
Yeah, you live there. Bias.
I mean, you're pretty much in Falcons. You're closer to the Falcons than you are the Titans. Cricket.
No, I'm really about exactly the same. It's almost exactly. It's really about two and a half hours to both. So I'm almost right in the middle of Atlanta and Nashville.
Okay.
And I don't like either one of them.
My thing with Atlanta, obviously new coaching regime. I like the offensive coordinator. I think Morris is a good defensive mind. You got all the weapons they've drafted. They finally got somebody who might be able to throw to them. So we'll see.
Okay. If you think Tampa is going to finally do it this year and go to the Super Bowl or go back to the Super Bowl, I guess 35-1 to win the NFC.
Jesus.
Don't bet that.
Don't bet that. And then to win the Super Bowl, if you believe in Baker, you can get 80-1 on your money. How about that?
Put you $1 to. If you want to do anything like that, man, just throw you $1 to. Don't put any real investment in any of those.
Shout out to MN Bird Hunter. It's been a while, buddy. Glad to have you here. He says, "Is it time for football yet?" We're getting there.
Oh, Bird Hunter, how you doing, man? Good to see you. It has been a little bit, man. Hope you're doing all right.
I'd invest in that Colts Super Bowl win right there.
Stop
Plus
it.
600.
By the bias, he continues.
AR-15, baby. That's my quarterback. Come on, man.
What do you think about this? Tampa Bay's season win total 7.5, -160 to the over, so they're expecting them to be an 8-win team. But I feel like they got 8 wins in them.
I think that's worth paying the juice. -160.
I'd be careful with that one, because if something happens, we all know Baker likes to play balls to the wall. Baker's a gritty guy. He's gonna stick his nose in there. There's gonna be a lot of possibilities where Baker could get banged up, and if Baker goes down, it's gonna fall.
Yeah, but we know Baker's gonna nut up and get out there, especially since he got that new contract. But it's also they could cut him after this season, so he's still hungry.
What if what if they break him in half though?
Yeah, but he's a father now. He can't be broken in half.
You're right, because that doesn't take any extra energy.
It doesn't. Let's see. Let's go to alternate season wins real quick. Tampa Bay is over 9.5 wins. If you think they can get to 10 wins,
that's not enough.
That's tough on that schedule.
205.
You're only getting +2. I feel like if you'd rather bet them to win the division than over.
I started to say, so for them to get to 10 wins, they're going to have to basically sweep the division. So you might as well just bet the division at +300.
Mm-hmm.
Because that non-conference or non-division schedule is tough.
I wouldn't mind.
You got to look at it all.
This is one of those ones where you lay a lot of juice, but it's just a nice little win. Over 5.5, it can't be that bad of a season.
Oh, don't be laying all that juice. Step, say what you were going to say again, man.
Yeah, I think this it's important to do this when you're betting futures. You got to compare everything, because sometimes if you look at both numbers, the books can kind of tell you what they're thinking, and you can find edges in certain spots. Like here, I mean, why bet 10.5 win? Why bet over 9.5 when you can get an additional plus 100 on it at plus 300? Like 10 wins is winning this division. Like, let's be honest, that's gonna win the division.
To make the
10 wins
playoffs,
will run away with this division.
if you think that they're going to make the playoffs, you can bet yes at plus 145. I don't see with this schedule them being one of the wild card teams. This division never has the wild card team, and there's too many good teams in the NFC. I feel like you're better off betting them to win the division. I don't think that I don't think there's going to be two good teams out of this division anyways. So I'd rather, instead of betting 145 that they make the playoffs as a wild card, I'd probably just bet them to win the division.
Yeah, because you got Browns and Ravens in the same division, right? Who else do you have in the other division that would be at the top that would put two teams in? Are there 3 wild card teams or 2?
I think you're probably getting 2
There's
out of
3
the NFC East.
Yeah, you got Cowboys,
exactly.
Eagles. You got Cowboys, Eagles. I mean, even NFC West, you got the Niners, and then you could either have the
Seahawks.
Rams or the Seahawks. And then you've got the AFC North.
AFC.
Oh no, it's AFC. I'm thinking NFC North.
West,
Yeah, I was thinking in AFC. My bad.
Depending on what the Chargers do with the Chiefs there and stuff. I mean, it's kind of a sneaky spot for the AFC West, but you even got the NFC North, man.
That doesn't matter for the NFC playoffs.
Yeah.
NFC North?
There.
You said
no. I was talking AFC.
I was going to say he was talking AFC North just a second ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, NFC North. NFC North. What do we got? We've got so the Packers.
I think
Packers, Lions.
Lions. That's right.
I
Packers,
think that's
Lions. Yeah, it's tough. That's tough.
I think those 2 teams are stronger than Bucks Falcons.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would bet if you're giving me those 2 teams, let's say the Lions are playing the Bucks and the Packers are playing the Falcons, you make it a pick 'em. I'm taking the Packers and the Lions both times.
Yeah. Okay. And then if you're really bold and you're a big, huge Baker homer, let's go look at some
MVP.
MVP.
Most passing yards. He ain't gonna do that.
Don't do that.
Man, we gotta go way down. This Caleb Williams is higher than Baker. Baker, you can get 100 to 1. I feel like we gotta put $1 on.
Put $1.
I think
$1 on Baker win MVP.
That's definitely worth $1. I think.
Absolutely.
Not gonna happen, but
and then when I win it, I'm just gonna send it to Baker, have him autograph it for me. I'm gonna hang it up right behind me back here, that $100 bill.
You'd be better off putting look at CMC.
That's true.
Because the injury, though, I'm sure.
Calf strain or something happened yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, but plus 5,000 for MVP, that's crazy.
They won't give it to him. I mean, if he didn't win it last year, there ain't no way they're gonna let him win it this year. I mean, there ain't no way that man should have won it last year.
You're right.
This is true. Todd Bowles 60 to 1 to win Coach of the Year.
I like that Antonio Pierce.
I don't hate that one. Don't bet Todd Bowles.
Yeah, I don't.
Do you see who Pierce has had in training camp with him? Coughlin and Marvin Lewis.
Oh, okay.
I like Pierce as a coach.
Baker over under 11.5 interceptions.
I think that might be sneaky.
What is the odds on it? What were the odds on it?
Minus 115 both ways.
Split. I'd probably take the under there.
22.5 passing TDs. 3,600 yards. If he stays healthy, I feel like he easily gets over 3,600 yards.
Hey, I saw this stat the other day, man, and it's kind of off topic, but we are talking football. But did you know Dak? There's been 5 guys that have multiple seasons of 35-plus touchdowns and less than 10 interceptions. Dak is one of the 5. The other 4 were like Brady, Rodgers, Manning, and Matt Ryan. They've all won MVPs. Dak's the only one of those guys that has not won an MVP.
He fits more on the back end of that, Matt Ryan, versus the other 2.
It's still a short list of 5 guys. They're all going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Still can't win.
B-Hole, we talked about this. He's talking about rolling over $100 bet on the White Sox. He would have been up on $750,000. Yeah.
Yeah. We did talk about
that.
I
would have stopped at like 10, though. Would have been fine with my like 10,
I never even hear about them until they're at like 15 games.
Yeah. I think one good, if you're looking for a player prop on these, I think Mike Evans is trying to be the first. Well, I guess the only other person was it Jerry Rice, right? To have the first 11 seasons of your career be 1,000 yards.
Mike's the first. Mike's the only one.
I think it was Jerry Rice as well.
Mike's the only one.
Well, he hasn't done it yet.
Google it. Because I remember when it happened, they said Mike was the first one to ever do it because he did it. I don't think Jerry Rice did it his first year in the league.
Rashad White rushing touchdowns.
Maybe it was 11
Seems
consecutive.
kinda low.
Is what I saw. Not the first, but 11 consecutive or something like that. I don't know. Either way, I mean,
I think
his
it's 10.
Yeah, I think they got 10. He's going for 11.
Right. But I think he's the first player to do it. Now, I'm not saying that Jerry Rice didn't have 10 seasons of 1,000+ yards, but Mike is the first person to do it in his first 10 seasons in the league.
But yeah, 1,050.5. I feel like you can only look towards the over in that one.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe leave that one alone. I just leave that one alone.
We'll end there with that optimism coming from Cricket about his Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2024 season preview. Let us know what you think about the Bucs and can they repeat as division champs and make the playoffs this season. Comment below, like this video. We'll see you on the next one.